Well, hello. Welcome back, Bears fans, to another episode of Bears on Tracks, brought to you by Chicago Sports Podcast. I'm your host with the most, Brandon Tracks Hiatt, and today we're diving deep into the topic that could change the future of Chicago Bears. Why the Bears must draft the man, the myth, the legend, Abdul Carter. Why they must go in. But before we get started, a quick reminder, we're pushing for 3,000 subs on YouTube. To celebrate, we're giving away a jersey of your choice once we hit that goal. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video for your chance to win. Now let's get into it, guys. Joining me today is a good friend of the show, Adam Mason from Bear Down Sports. Adam, always great to have you on the show, bro.
Tracks, my pleasure, man. I'm really glad to be here. Really glad you invited me on. I enjoy mucking it up with you. So I don't know if you saw on my JPEG, on whatever you call it, my thumbnail, I changed the title a little bit on mine. I want to debate you on this. Should the Bears trade down? Not they must, but we'll get into it. I appreciate you having me on.
You know what? I've seen some of your takes, and I thought that this might be a good one. So, let's have some fun. By the way, I wanted to ask you, man, what jersey are you wearing today, bro?
This is Darnell Wright.
Oh, nice.
I always do the jersey from the first round pick. So 2 years ago, I got Darnell Wright. Last year, I bought two of them. Obviously, Rome and Caleb.
Yeah.
And whoever we picked this year. So I wanted to rep. This was my number in high school, 58. Yeah. My failed number in college. We haven't talked too much about that, but I did try out for college, and I didn't. I was a failed college. Nothing special, just a high school athlete, and. So I was an outside linebacker that moved to defensive end. So I was number 58, and I love Darnell. And I like the line. So I'm trying to rep the line today. I'm repping the line.
That's awesome, bro. You got some shiplap behind you too, don't you?
Yeah, we got a little wall here and a little painted wall there, and we got some Bears stuff behind me. Nothing like you, man. You got some cool stuff behind you. This is still a work in progress for my studio.
No, man, you got some skill over there putting that shiplap. You put that up, right?
Yeah. 4 years ago, 5 years. This was my boy's room. Oh. Now it's my studio. He's 18 now. He's going off to college himself. So I'm old, Track.
That's awesome, bro. Going off to college, dude. That's cool, man. So is he going out for any sports, or what's he majoring in, if you don't mind sharing, or no?
No. He's from my first marriage, and he is just like his mom, and I love him to death. Not saying, but his mother is not athletic at all. I played 4 sports, and he is very artistic. But those who are parents in the chat love my kid to death. But he did not get. I mean, he's got my build. Man, he's 6'1", 6'2", and he's built like an athlete. He just didn't want to do sports. He's more artistic and more. He's a straight A student. I got nothing to complain about. Great kid. Yeah, great kid. I don't want that to come off wrong. He just did not inherit the love for the sports like his father. It's funny, my 2 girls, they both love sports. They're younger and they love sports, but the boy did not love sports.
That's how my daughter Faith is. She's 20, and then my son, he's 9. He likes soccer. He plays a little, do some martial arts and ninja class and all the all the fun stuff, whatever. But as far as like basketball, baseball, football, he likes it, and this and that, but he's more of a casual fan. My daughter, she was like diehard in sports. But anyways, let's get into why we're in the show, why we're in the building, man. So like I said, joining me today, good friend of the show, Adam Mason from Bear Down Sports. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe right now for all his amazing content, all the stats, what would you call that you put up there? I know there's a specific name. I've seen it before because I tried to figure out how the heck to do it with my 2 left thumbs.
I just call myself a nerdy Bears super fan. The nerdy analysis, the stats. Okay. Some people call me Adam Statson. That's kind of stuck a little bit. I don't necessarily love it, but I do. I base a lot of it off stats, but I watch a ton of film too. So it's not just one-sided. But I brought out the deeper stats that a lot of people didn't see before. Yeah. And it started making people pay attention to that stuff. And so that's kind of what I'm known for now, is being the nerdy stats guy. So,
well, and honestly, too, there are some stats that are in there that are hidden, and I was taking in So, you know, when I came back from the Middle East, I started in the really quickly, not to do the full backstory because we're interviewing you, not me, but I was in the getting registered, and DD 214. Coach walks in, William and Mary, hey, do you play football? No, would you like to? Blah, blah, blah. How tall are you? How much you weigh? I think there's a top player on the team and all that kind of stuff. But when I was looking into all of the stuff, I was like, statistics. I've always been good with numbers because of sports. Let's take a look at it. While I was sitting in class for statistics and we were going over quantitative and qualitative, I thought of dudes like you. Because seriously, dude, there is a lot of need for hidden stats because everybody goes to like the big name stats, you know, and there's some stuff out there that is measurable immeasurables, if that makes any sense, for lack of better words. And I feel like you bring some of those out, and it's good to look at because some of those things you just can't measure unless you know how to. So it's pretty cool, and I hope you can bring some of that with you on the show, and that's kind of what I was hoping to. But looking at a guy that's got a lot of good measurables, Abdul Carter's in his dominance, man. So
I gotta pause you real quick because you said, and I didn't hop on it. Tracks, I'm nearing. What do we got here? We got 70 in my chat right now. We're getting right up there. You guys, if you don't know Chicago Sports Podcast by now, if you're watching on my stream, just search it. You'll see in the description. Check it out. Go get Tracks. Subscribing's free. I think I saw Mikey in the comments say subscribing's free. Hit him up too. All this Bears. A lot of you guys just don't know all the Bears different media. There's so many to support. I get it, but we've all got good stuff to share. So I appreciate that, Tracks.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I appreciate that a lot, man, for sure. So no doubt, let's play it all out. Carter, the standout defensive end, for anybody you guys that don't know, he's from Penn State. He's been a force in college football. Here's a quick breakdown of him. He's got good height, 6'3", 259, call it 260. Total tackles, I call him one biscuit away from 260. How's that? Total tackles, 112 solo tackles, 56 assists. 23 sacks, man, including 12 sacks in 2024 alone. Tackles for loss, 33. Forced fumbles, 5. Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year for 2024. Adam, when you look at those type of numbers, what stands out for you the most, man?
Everything. So here's the thing with Abdul Carter. You have to watch. So this is where the stats go out the window because the stats are phenomenal. But you can take Abdul Carter, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, so forgive me if I'm a little off on this. But I was pounding the table for Princely Umanmielen earlier in the offseason.
I saw that.
Because if you take Princely Umanmielen and Abdul Carter, they're basically clones. They're both around 6'3", 6'4", around 250, 260. Both of their defensive grade was over 90, which is, really, really good. They both got like significant pressure. I think Carter had a few more sacks, but Umanmielen had more pressures, barely. And I'm just going off memory, so forgive me if I'm slightly off here, guys. This is not where I have all my stats perfectly prepared. But I think each of them were below like once every 6 plays on their sacks, hits, or what's I call a pressure between plays. So a plays between pressure. It's my own little thing that I generate. It's very similar to PFF's PRP metric, but except you're not, weighing as much you're just doing how many plays between a pressure. And both of them were below 6, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
But if you watch Princely, which I love the prospect still, the thing that separates Abdul Carter, and I don't know if you saw Tracks or if anybody else saw, where the Bears sent, basically everyone but Dayo Odunze down to Florida to work with this guru on the defensive line and getting pressure. I don't even remember who it was. I'm not prepared. I'm really sorry. I don't know if you saw on Twitter or saw the video. They're doing that stutter step move where they go and then juke them out and they go like that. They're practicing as defensive ends. But in games, Abdul Carter is like the most elite, most polished, like even like Micah Parsons level. And I know everyone gives that comparison. There's good reason. Because he can literally stop and juke on a dime,
right,
and move defenders without even touching them. And the thing is, he's powerful enough at 6'3" and 260 pounds to push into him and blow him back. But he can also juke them back, like juke them out of their socks, a tackle out of their socks without even touching them. And Abdul Carter is special on tape right off the bat. I mean, I do believe he's going to be. If there's anybody in this class that is true blue chip, I believe it's Abdul Carter. I really do. That's a combination of stats and tape. with him. And if you watch enough, you'll be like, dude, this guy, wish he was a Bear. I wish he was the next Bear because he would be the next great Bear.
Yeah, and I do have a highlight video. I'm sure you've got other things that you could poke holes in, because highlight videos are just that. They're just highlight videos. We're not showing all the things that, all the immeasurables where they mess up and muff and all this and that kind of stuff. But this is just kind of like throw them on the stand and sell them as why I feel like it would be great to have him in the building. So, but what jumps out to me is his ability to disrupt the offense consistently, man. He's not just a pass rusher. He's a playmaker. He forces fumbles. He actually can get in the, play in coverage and all this stuff. This guy lives in the backfield, and he plays with emotion, and he's ready to flex on you. And speaking of his athleticism, Carter made Bruce Feldman's freaks list at 43, running at 4.48 40-yard dash, 250 pounds, 4.35 shuttle, and power cleaning 350 pounds, man. That's elite. I don't know if I could do that right now. It's been a while, bro. I'm pushing 50 almost now. But Adam, do you think his athletic profile translates to immediate success in the NFL, or is he still a prospect looking to, break the starting,
No, he's the fun one. Like, he's the one I don't get to talk about enough because we're debating other things. Abdul Carter is the true blue chip of this class. He's the guy. I won't be shocked if the Titans take him at number 1. Like, if the Titans say there's no true. If those who have been watching my channel since the beginning, it started just over a year and like 4 or 5 months ago. If you watched that from the beginning, I talked about how the 25 draft class is not going to be special, and it's turning out to be that way. But the 26 draft class for quarterbacks is going to. I'm talking about just for quarterbacks. Sorry if I didn't clarify that for quarterbacks.
No, you're good.
At the 26 draft class for quarterback, there's probably going to be 7, maybe 8 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. And I'm not even exaggerating on that. Like, there really is elite talent in the 26 draft class.
I'd like to add to that. I think that the tackles, the left tackles and the right tackles, I've seen a few of them, not just a couple, a few of them graded in the high to mid 90s. And I'm really excited about the tackles. And it feels like, looking at all this, Adam, and correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like on the defensive side and the offensive side of the trenches, it's interior for me when it comes to this draft. And what's interesting that you say is there's about 7 quarterbacks and a lot of protection. So maybe that's why some of these guys are just putting little, pins in, like, okay, let's get this guy. Let's hold him for a year, hold him for 2. I don't know if you saw the news broke, Russell Wilson going to the Giants, and that's a temporary fix, dude. That's not a 4 full gone. Like, this is going to be the guy. I mean, maybe it is. I hope it works out for him, but I think there's a lot of that going on in today's NFL. And like you said, maybe they're waiting until next year. I think a smart GM looks for that, Adam, especially if you are, and I think that's what happens. You look into next year also, Adam.
The same thing with the Raiders. They traded for Geno Smith. That's not a long-term contract. That's a bridge quarterback. They don't know if he's going to be a solid thing yet. With the Jets, I know a lot of us love Justin Fields, but if we're being honest with ourselves, that's a bridge quarterback situation. You bring him into the Jets and say, hey, we need someone that's got some high upside. We're going to try him out this year. Yes, we gave him a 2-year contract, but you're going to have a 2-year contract with a rookie signing next year. So they'd be stupid not to take Justin, see what they're going to do with him this year. If he excels, great, you've got a quarterback. If not, you have him on those 2 years. Draft a quarterback next year with the Jets. Seems like there's a lot of teams that are right in those same boats. And that's why I say with the Titans, I'm not going to be shocked if the Titans take Will Levis is only on year 2. I don't think he's the answer. I don't think they think he's the answer. They drafted him in the second round.
Right.
But they could do the same thing this year. And if quarterbacks fall, they could take a Jackson Dart in the second round. They could take a Tyler Shaw in the third round or the second round. And so one of these guys you take a shot on this year and then still draft a quarterback. So I won't be shocked at all if the Titans, to bring it back into Abdul Carter, he's that good. I won't be shocked if the Titans pick Carter first overall. You see the history of first overall picks. It's usually quarterback, or the other position is when you have that elite defensive lineman, defensive end, Travion Walker type of thing. I won't be shocked if Abdul Carter goes first overall at all.
And I like what you said there because it makes a lot of sense. Remember going back to Peyton Manning days, what did the Houston Texans do in order to counter that? They went out and got Mario Williams. The day that Peyton Manning got shipped over to Denver, what did they do? They got rid of Mario Williams. It's all about putting pressure on, it's about counter moves and all that. And it's about playing chess instead of checkers. And sometimes I'm playing checkers. But I think with a guy like Abdul Carter in a pass-happy league, you've got to put pressure, and that could be that dude. Obviously, I haven't done my homework on Prince. I'm excited to hear about him. Maybe we could do a show later and unpack some of that stuff. But I did see your show on him. And right away when I looked at him, I'm like, okay, I might not be able to, pronounce his last name, but I can do his first name for sure. But like I said, when you have elite burst and strength like you do with Abdul Carter, you can adjust to the speed of the NFL quickly. He reminds me of a lot like a Von Miller, the size and all that kind of stuff and his explosiveness off the edge. And here's how Carter fits the Bears defense, man. It's a big time comparison when you say Von Miller, but we all know Bears defenses wins championships, and the Bears pass rush need and they have been inconsistent, and they need a guy like this. Do you think Abdul Carter could and would fit in the current system of the Bears, brother?
Abdul Carter would fit in the system of any team. Like he's that good. Of course he would fit with the Bears, though. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of people, as I've talked on Twitter or on my podcast with people, a lot of people overlook the fact that the place that rotates the most in the entire game is the defensive line, both defensive end and defensive tackle. You're putting that burst pressure on every single play.
Right.
You need to counter offenses in different ways. I think, and I could be way off on this one, but I think it was Myles Garrett played the most percentage of snaps for his team on the, and it was only just above 70%. Wow. He didn't play even close to 80, 90. Like nobody plays that many snaps. Max Crosby only played 62% of his snaps for the Raiders. You're rotating guys constantly to keep them fresh. As you have that elite burst, as the snap happens, you're pushing the offense into the backfield, trying to get to their quarterback, trying to stuff the run. It's exhausting. They can be in the best shape in the world, and they're still only going to take 40, 50, 60% of the snaps in the game. So you've got to rotate. So even with Montez Sweat, Dayo Odunze, right. Austin Booker's not proven yet. You still got to rotate him in, get his 30 for 40% of snaps. We still need another pass rusher for sure. We need another one in this draft.
Well, and to back what you just said, Adam, here's the deal. Dennis Allen has went on record by saying he needs at least 8 defensive linemen.
Yeah.
And Ben Johnson says he needs at least 9 offensive linemen. Obviously, the reason why they need that, it's like hockey. You need a full line of guys to come in and out whenever possible, keep guys fresh. Not saying all 5 and all 4 are going to rotate like so, but you got to be ready for anything to break loose. I like what you said. Keep them fresh. You made a good point, 70%. A lot of us, I'd say at least 70% of us, can't name 2 more defensive linemen from the Cleveland Browns. And that's kind of what happened with the Bears last year. Montez Sweat, after that, who's next? Especially when you got a guy that's just a serviceable defensive lineman that plays interior defensive line in Billings. When he goes down, bro, they were averaging over 4.5, carries per game. I mean, we were getting ran on, and it was demoralizing. So 4.5 is 3rd and 1. You can't win with those ball games, and that's not Bears football. And that's why we started out with the show yesterday about Mason Graham and how we would really like to run to the podium if Mason Graham was available at 10. But the other side of that is another edge that could take the pressure off of, interior D linemen. I did see a pro comp in Landon Jackson, and they said that Dayo is the pro comp for Landon Jackson. So we've already got Landon Jackson in the building, and he plays the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 technique. So you got a Swiss Army knife that Dennis Allen can deploy. That's really good there. And I hope, at the age of 24, I hope he works out. But to piggyback off of what Adam just said, you got to have more guys, because outside of 3, 4 names, maybe 5 tops, and we just got a guy who they gave a 21 gun salute when he left the Atlanta Falcons, and the owner, you don't see this much in today's NFL or in NFL in general, that say, hey, thank you for your service. That was pretty awesome when they did that, bro. So we know who we got in the building, but he's not getting any younger. So this leads me to my next question. If you're Ryan Poles, okay, Adam, Do you pull the trigger and go after him? And at what point do you stop and not pull the trigger, Adam?
This is why I changed the title for my side, is because we're not quite there. As Bears fans, we want to feel like we're there.
Yeah.
You just hit two really important things. On the defensive line, you rotate more than anybody.
Yeah.
Why did Ben Johnson say we need 8 or 9 on the offensive line? Because the position that gets hurt more than any other, because you're taking that blow. So think about it on one side. You're given that burst off the line every snap. You're expected to be like a missile every time. Right off the line, you're going to burst and you're going to get into that offensive line. Well, on the offensive line, they're going to take it. So you're expending the energy on the defense. On the offense, you're taking that energy. More injuries happen on the offensive line than anywhere else on the field. So you need the 8-9 You'd love every guy to be Darnell Wright or Coleman Shelton last year and play every single snap. I'm not saying talent level. Obviously, Darnell Wright, elite talent level. But you want them to take every snap with the team. But it's not going to happen every single time. Other than Karan Amagaji, we don't have any backups yet on the offensive line.
Oh,
we're still missing an elite defensive end, an elite defensive tackle. So I hear you there. We got an opportunity with 10, 39, and 41 to fill 3 critical roles on this team.
I agree.
We haven't made the playoffs yet. I don't believe, in my personal opinion, I don't believe we open the Super Bowl window until you make the playoffs. So the goal this year should be make the playoffs. That should be the goal. Win the division. You're always trying to win the division, but make the playoffs. And then once you make the playoffs, anything can happen. Make a run for the Super Bowl, whatever. But I don't think you're in buy mode. This is just me personally. I don't think we use that capital, especially when the salary cap next year won't look like the salary cap this year.
Right.
I'm going to break that down once we get done with the salary cap. But we signed so many good contracts that are backloaded that will come full force next year. We're not going to have money to spend next free agency. We now have to. We don't have an option. We have to build through the draft. So I don't think we should. Now, I'm not saying they won't. Ryan Poles can do whatever he wants. If he really likes Abdul Carter this much and he say he falls to 4, which I think is out of the question. I think he could go 1 or more likely 2. He'll probably go 2 because when you sit at 1, same debate as last year. Should the Bears take 1? Should they trade it back? Should we blah, blah, blah? Well, the Bears took Caleb Williams. You take the quarterback if he's there. The only one that's worthy of taking first round, according to most analysts, and from what I've seen too, different style than Caleb Williams, but Cam Ward is really the only one worth taking. So maybe the Titans say, well, we're not going to be back in this first position again. We'll go ahead and take the quarterback. Well, then the Browns. How do the Browns pass on Abdul Carter? They got to. So, and I'm going off a lot. I'm sorry, but if he falls to 4 or 5, I'm not going to say Ryan Poles won't do it. I just don't think we're there yet. I think we got to make the playoffs before you start spending that future draft capital to buy the Super Bowls, to buy that window. My personal opinion, but I've been told I'm very conservative. Yeah. I'm too conservative sometimes. I don't want to draft a running back in the first round because I'm into old school building the right way.
Okay.
So I'm not down with trading up at all. I'd rather see if a Mason Graham falls to us at 10, which it seems more and more likely if some of these teams get into overdrafting quarterback. If some analysts think we'll get 3 quarterbacks in the top 10 now, maybe maybe a few more positions than we thought would go top 10. Maybe Will Campbell, goes in there in the top 10, which he's borderline. He could not. Yeah. If Mason Graham falls to us, man, we just got a gift in our lap at 10. But me personally, I don't want to trade up.
No, I hear you, and it makes sense. And I was actually, I guess the question was, I feel like you were going to say that, watching you. But if given the option, where would your threshold be? Oh, by the way, speaking of threshold, this is amazing. Bear Down Sports is holding it down in YouTube. 86 in the building. In XApp for Chicago Sports Podcast, 18 and 9 on Chicago Sports Podcast YouTube. So everybody from everywhere, thank you guys for joining the show. We greatly appreciate it. So we got over 113 in the building, man. Thank you guys. So the threshold would be right there, man. I mean, like I said, he's a great game wrecker on defense. His upside is sky high. He's only going to get better. And we already know the NFC North is stacked with QBs, although we're not quite sure what's going on in Viking land. We've got ideas, but we really don't know what the heck's going on. Yeah. We got to neutralize that. Where would your threshold be with Abdul Carter, or is it just you're not going to trade at all for that?
That's the hard part. No, I'm not going to say. And I want to pretend to be Ryan Poles for a minute because once you get to it, so the problem is top 10 picks are a premium. You're going to pay more than equal value, and I don't know if everybody's familiar with Draft Tech and the Rich Hill trade value chart or the Jimmy Johnson trade value chart. Rich Hill is more generally accepted to be accurate now. But it's not equal until you get around 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, where you're going to be looking at equal trade downs. When you're coming up into those premium picks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
right?
Where quarterbacks are more likely to be taken.
Right.
You're looking at extra value. So, from 10 to 5, you're looking at pretty equal value going 10 and 39 for 5. But at a premium slot, you're probably going to have to give up 10, 39, and next year's second. To come up to 5. It's not equal because you're giving up premium position. So I don't know, man. 5 seems like a little too rich. I would say if he falls to 7 or 8, you're only going to have to give up, 39 or 41 at a premium.
Because it's a 1-for-1, so that neutralizes it and we get it out of there, right? So you're just talking about what extra it would be on top of that. So it'd either be a 39 or 41 possibly. You think that's where it ends if it falls into the 7 or something?
Yeah, around 7 or 8, I would say you only have to give up 39 or 40, or you could even give up 72 in next year's third to go up to 7. And I'd be okay with that because you still keep 39 and 41.
I got you.
But man, we still have so many needs to fill. We need a tight end 2. We need at least 2 offensive linemen, probably a tackle. I love Holland Pierce later. A tackle and a guard or a center.
Yeah.
A defensive end, a defensive tackle, a tight end, a running back. I mean, we still have so many. But, you could always trade. If you did that, if you traded 72 in next year's third, you could always trade back from 41 to get a fourth.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's options. But I would say, to answer your question for Abdul Carter, and that's where you're balancing it because I don't want to trade up at all. Right. But if you fell to 7 or 8, how do you pass up on moving up just a little with light draft capital to go get what I think is the best blue chip prospect in this class? I mean, if he fell to 7 or 8, I would say there 7 or 8. But I think Poles might do it. He wanted to trade up for Rome last year, and I don't know if anybody's jumped into Rome enough. I did it on my channel, but his contested catch, his drop rate, his size, his speed, it hasn't been seen in the last decade. And he put up contested catch numbers. He was number 1 in the NFL this last year as a rookie.
Oh my God!
A lot of people don't realize that because he was splitting reps. He was a wide receiver 3. So I see why Poles wanted to trade up for him. And we hear the story of Ian Cunningham saying, no, hold steady, hold the course, hold the door. We got this. Hold on. So he may want to trade up to 5 or 4 or 6. I don't know. So I don't know, but I would be, me personally, if I'm playing GM, I would be willing to trade up, say to 7 or 8 for 72 in a future third. I would do that. I would.
Okay. That's reasonable and that's fair.
But I don't. To caveat that, I don't think he's making it past 2. I don't think he's making it past the Browns.
I agree. Hey, listen, brother, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a pipe dream, but you never know. Crazy things have happened, and maybe Ryan Poles again playing chess while I'm playing checkers.
Yeah,
he might have already stretched strategically, being that Big Ten, blah blah blah, has kept his eye on the prize of Abdul Carter even as far back as last year. Stacked chips and got that second round draft pick in order to put himself into position to get the Abdul Carter. You never know what a guy's thinking of. So like you said, he's got the opportunity to do it. Now, where that would put you in the second round, could you go out and get Connolly from Oregon, Connolly Jr. from Oregon, have yourself a backup tackle, maybe position himself into a starter at some point. I don't know how you feel about that and the metrics with that guy. I like him. He kind of gives me that Penny Sewell type vibe of that kind of type of player, but on the outside, a little bit, better measurables as far as like length and, all that stuff. But I don't know what that would look like. And I don't even know if you want to dive into that, but I would like to show you guys a highlight video if you don't mind, unless you got something that you want to unpack really quick, Adam.
I am actually just starting a poll to see where people would be willing to trade up
Dude, you got to show me how to do that because
Abdul Carter.
my polls are so shady. Like people are just like, they're so dusty. They're like, dude, you've got to talk to BCP and Shorty on how to do these polls because you suck at them. I'm not that good at them, bro. I try to keep people captivated and have a little bit of fun, but
all right.
I see some out there that look pretty good.
So I just started a poll for the 110 in Bear Down Sports chat.
Cool.
And it's where would you be willing to trade up to get Abdul Carter? Top 4, 5 through 7, or 8 or 9, and we'll see what people say. We'll give it a minute here to.
Okay. Cool.
To see where it goes.
Wow. So, now you got over 106 in your building. XApp is holding it down with 26 and 9 in Chicago Sports Podcast. Guys, do me a favor. Go click on his channel or on mine and check out that poll and answer that and come on back or do whatever you guys want to do. Hey, this is a simulcast, man. We're going to have some fun. Get your popcorn. We're going to get ready to do a Tracks production and watch this video really quickly, guys. And, oh, by the way, it's not muted. So if you see something, Adam, that jumps out at you, for sure, add a little flavor to it, man.
You got it. There's a lot to see with him.
Here we go.
Man, look at that bend.
Yeah. Like fast, he's got like some strength to it. It's hard to explain. You know what I mean? Look at that guy's holding him at low. Yeah.
Well, he's got so many options. Like he can juke them out. He can overpower them. He can bend and flex. When you hear about a defensive end having bend, like Abdul Carter is the definition of that.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? Like when he comes in at the bottom and he wraps it up, it looks like he's not going to solidly pull the guy down, but he's got so much strength he can do that. You know what I'm trying to say? It's right there. Dude, that takes a lot, that shoelace tackle. Oh, my God. It's all low, too. He does a lot of low stuff.
So this was my natural position. I played defensive end.
Oh, did you?
And, I didn't look like Abdul Carter.
That's funny, man. And it's interesting to see what, to your point earlier, you said something earlier about, how other guys, in those positions. Let's see how many guys in the defensive line from Penn State, make it in the draft, especially in the first round. He's one of those guys that, man, look at that. I'm a USC fan. I do not like to see Moses on his back.
Chris 76 South just said, worth the trade. He is a bad, bad man. That's a good way to describe him. He's a bad, bad man.
Worth the trade.
Look at that. Hey, that was against Ariante Ursery right there. And I love Ariante Ursery.
Look at this.
Chase him down.
Chase him down and get the fumble, bro. Like nonstop motor, Forced interception. Did you imagine JJ with him? Oh my God.
Oh man, you imagine? Yeah.
900 interceptions. Sorry, that's a bit much.
No, and you get him on one side and Sweat on the other side, or Odunze on the other side, and then you got imagine Kyler Gordon coming in on a blitz.
Oh my God.
I mean, you're gonna have quarterbacks nightmaring over this defense.
Well, could you imagine Kyler Gordon and his fighting senses and all his backflips and stuff, and then this guy trying to match his energy? Two of them together would be electric, man. That'd be so much fun. I never even thought about Kyler Gordon, but that'd be cool. Yeah,
we're going to see a lot of blitzes this year. They talked about Kyler very highly.
Oh, okay. Man, this guy. And, he just doesn't quit. He's got a motor. He just keeps going after it, What I like about him. Some guys are like, I gave him my all, I gave my share, and then I just throttle back. No, he's just for the whistle boy.
Boom. Did you put this together with the music?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Good job.
I'm working on it, man. I do it all off my phone. That right there is a what do they call that? Royalty free. Yeah, anyone can grab that. You got to watch yourself on that kind of stuff. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, exit that. This is the part where Come on, though. I stuck the landing. I did it. I messed up, dude. So I hope you guys enjoy that Tracks production, everybody out there. So make sure you hit that like button. So did you enjoy that highlight? It sounded like you did.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch him play. It's always fun to see his highlights. He's just such an extreme player. Like he when you hear people and it's funny because same position as Micah Parsons, same school as Micah Parsons, took over for Micah Parsons, and it's just true. He is Micah Parsons 2.0. I mean, I think he's actually a little bit bigger than Micah Parsons, but he plays the same way and the same style. I mean, he's going to be a star in the league. If there's one player I can say I think is going to be a star, like that I would put money on that this guy is. Last year you had options, Latu and Jared Verse and who was the other one?
Latu, yeah, I know. Okay, so Latu was he USC or UCLA?
Latu was UCLA that went to the Colts, and Jared Verse went to LA, and he was from Florida State. And then there was the one that a lot of people liked the most. I can't even remember. Man, that was such a long time ago. The lighter one. Either way, so there were three of them this year. It's Abdul Carter. He's number one. It's Abdul Carter. So we got 31 votes now. Those who want to vote on that, hurry and go vote on it before we close it up. But right now, 8 or 9 is so. I think what you're getting from that. So top 4 is 10%, 5 or 7 is 38%, and 8 or 9 is 53%. I think what you're seeing with that is people saying they don't want to give up draft capital, that they want to use our picks this year.
Yeah,
for Abdul Carter though, that's a hard one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like what Skeletor said, dude. Shout out to my favorite villain from He-Man Land, dude. He was awesome. This is a worthless discussion as Carter will be gone by pick 2. Hey, Skeletor, you're preaching to the choir. I agree with it too, for sure. He will be gone, man. And if that many teams let him go, oh my, like what's going on here, So, but some analysts say that the Bears should focus on offense, Adam. What do you say about that?
Which part of offense? I mean, we're going to get into the thing where I am not winning with people. I just do not believe in taking a running back in the first round, at the top of the first round especially. I can understand if you're, the Chiefs and you won the Super Bowl and you take Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 32. 32 is very different than 10. I can even see a playoff team that's pretty well built taking, a running back at 22. I can see the Chargers taking a running back, and that's not a reach.
Right.
Dallas Turner is who I was thinking of. Rob Hansen, good job. It was Dallas Turner is who I was thinking of. He went to Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. Man, Minnesota's been burning them, man.
I don't believe in running backs in the first round that high. I just don't. It's just my thing. So I don't think offensive line is the way to go because it's like we talked about just barely. Defensive line, you're going to rotate. Guys are going to play 70%, 60%, 50% of snaps. Offensive line, you want cohesion and you want them to play 100% of snaps, but you need 3 really solid backups. So I'm all in favor of taking that offensive line in the second round. In the third round, you can still get really good prospects for the offensive line in the third round, in the second round.
Adam, let me ask you a question about that because before we went and got those offensive linemen, 3 offensive linemen, the left guard, the right guard, and the center, okay, respectively. Before we went out and got those guys in trades, free agency, blah, 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 were you adamant about picking an offensive lineman in the first round to begin with, or has your status changed since they addressed that in the free agency? And are you okay with picking up offensive linemen in the later rounds, second round, third round, etc.?
Yeah, I don't call those later rounds, but yeah, from the start, this has always been the defensive line draft class, and a lot of people will say, "Well, you can get a defensive lineman in the second round, the third round." Well, that's true,
yeah.
But the quality to me significantly drops from the first round to the second round. A lot of people don't agree with that. I just absolutely think that quality is very different from round 1 to 2, but you can get really quality guys in the second and third round. I think Walter Nolan, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, those 3, they separate themselves from the other defensive tackles in this class significantly. So I think we need to grab one of them in the first round, unless Abdul Carter falls. It's not happening, though. So if Abdul Carter falls, great. If not, I really feel like we need to go defensive tackle in the first round, then address that running back or, guard or, offensive tackle in the second round. That's just even tight end. If a tight end falls in the second round that maybe normally wouldn't, or in the third round.
Yeah.
That's the order I would put it in. I'm not even putting running back at the top of the second round. Might even go third round. Might even, get a trade back and go fourth round. If you get a trade back, I'm good with taking a running back later. Ben Johnson said it himself when he came here. He believes in Caleb Williams, and the NFL today is a quarterback-dependent league. It's now a quarterback-ran league. He believes in Caleb Williams. Teams that believe in their franchise quarterback get a running back to pair up and supplement, to support the quarterback, not to dominate and take 30 snaps, 40 snaps a game.
Right.
Something really interesting that I think some people hate me over at this point.
Yeah.
I brought up, I don't know if you've seen this. I don't have it prepared to share. I don't know how to share on Restream. But Kylan James from UNLV, which is my alum.
Nice.
Where I graduated from. Kylan James is a 6 foot, 226-pound running back who split time. UNLV uses a running back by committee, and then they had a running back quarterback. They had a quarterback that ran 118 attempts this year.
Wow.
He had 6.6 yards per attempt, 5.2 yards after contact, 55.9 breakaway yard percentage, which was second highest in all of college football, behind only Caleb Johnson, ahead of Ashton Jeanty. 193.5 elusiveness grade, which was second only to Ashton Jeanty by only like 10 or 15 points. There's two things you can deduce from that. Either the Mountain West Conference really boosted these guys' stats, or Kylan James, who is predicted to be an undrafted free agent, is a hidden gem that someone's going to steal. Yeah. One of those two things has to be true. Either Kylan James with very similar stats, just 1/4 as many attempts as Ashton Jeanty, who leads Ashton Jeanty in several stat categories, including breakaway yard percentage, which is one of the most important stats for transferring to the NFL.
Yeah.
Or Ashton Jeanty is a little bit overhyped. I'm not trying to bash on him, but one of those two things has to be true. Either Kylan James is going to be a gem for someone, or Ashton Jeanty from the Mountain West Conference got boosted stats from being in the Mountain West Conference. So
I got you.
I'm not sold on any one running back to the point where you have to take him at 10 is where I'm going with that.
I got you.
I would rather take a running back in this loaded class where you've got 7 guys with above 50 breakaway yard percentage when last year there were only 3. I think 6 or 7 guys with elusiveness grades above 150 when last year there were only 2. I mean, this class is so loaded. You can take the Bears just have a confirmed top 30 visit with Brashard Smith. You can take a Brashard Smith in the 5th round and get a really, really good running back and fill those other needs earlier. So I'm not sold on offense in the first round, no. And to go back to your original question, with those 3 offensive linemen, we have our starters set. We are set on our starters.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go offensive line first round. I would rather fill those needs later, hit the defensive line in the first round. And that's just how I would play GM if I was playing GM.
I agree with you. And here's the thing. I do want to give you a guy who has a pro comp to a running back from the New Orleans Saints. A lot of people are using this guy, so I'm just kind of like, But look at Marcus Yarns out of Delaware. He's supposed to be undrafted. I was talking to Jim Miller. He was there at the Senior Bowl. He says this guy is freaking magical. He's really great. He plays just like him too. So I can't think of his name right now. Alvin Kamara. So take a look at that guy, his stats, what it screams to you. But that guy, like I said, another hidden gem, just like you spoke of earlier. I agree with you. There's a whole lot of running backs, and I'm not 100% sure that the Bears don't take 2 running backs in the draft later on in the draft.
I've been saying that lately, like just the last day I've been saying that a lot. So we might have run across that thought process at the same time.
Yeah.
Marcus Yarns, to hit that's someone I didn't have on my radar at all. Same thing, small school, so I kind of overlook him.
Yeah.
But same thing, above 6 yards per attempt, above 4 yards after contact, good elusiveness grade, decent breakaway yards. So, I mean, I overlooked him because he's I think he's like 5'10" or 5'11" and below 190 pounds. So I think we already have.
He's that light, bro?
I think he's like 180 or 190. So we already have kind of that. Well, DeAndre Swift is bigger than that. Isn't DeAndre Swift like the same size as Ashton Genty? Like a lot of people don't realize that either. Like I think DeAndre Swift is the same. And DeAndre Swift was a second-round pick. And you look at his tape, and he actually looks very similar to Ashton Genty in his film from college. Like it's
crazy.
Pretty similar, actually.
Yeah, and with the whole Guardian cap and all that, I'm not sure that Roshan, come out of the same school as Bull. I'm bad at saying his name, but you just said it earlier. You landed the nailing. You stuck the landing there earlier with that guy out of Texas. But dude, seriously, I was excited about him. They pumped him up, and so far he's not what they said he would be. And now I'm kind of worried about that, that cranium and everything, what he does, because he's a hard hitting dude, and I don't know how much longer he'll be in the building. I wish him the best, but I almost got that vibe where it might be time to move on, and that's why I think we might go out and get 2 more backs, and I don't know how long we're going to keep Swift either. Maybe one. This might be his last year. I don't know, bro.
Yeah, his contract's expendable after this year, and if you're gonna get 2 backs, I mean, this would be the year to do it, and maybe someone like UNLV's running back, like I said, maybe getting a Kylan James as an undrafted free agent. You can bring them in and have them compete with Ian Wheeler and duke it out, and maybe we get another one in undrafted free agents. I don't know. There's lots of options though, but there's going to be some running backs not drafted that should have been drafted in this year for sure.
So last night there was 2 guys that came on, a father and a son, both friends of mine. One kid, he goes to Lincoln West. He plays defensive line. They're both Michigan fans. The father and the son, they're both Michigan fans, diehard Bears fans. Their favorite running back that they'd like to get out of the draft, I think they said he's available in the 3rd round, is Scatabo. How do you feel about that guy?
Scatabo!
Okay, enough said.
I really like Scatabo. I've gotten really high on the guys with elusiveness and breakaway yards. And Scatabo doesn't have the big breakaway yards, but he's got elusiveness and he's got great contact balance. I think his elusiveness is like right up there in the top 10, and his contact balance is, it's probably better than anybody in this draft class. That's maybe Caleb Johnson's contact balance is better, and you watch Scatabo, he can take 5 lumps. And see, here's the big thing for me when you're evaluating running backs. And it's so to me, defensive backs and running backs are the hardest to evaluate. Defensive backs, the game changes so much from college to the NFL that it's hard to analyze how they're going. In fact, Ryan Poles said the same thing about safeties. He said safeties was his hardest thing to evaluate because the game changes so much from the college level to the NFL. So I agree with that. When you're watching tape, it's hard to evaluate because the college game is just so much wider and so much, spread offense and so, pass pro. And when you get to the NFL level, these running backs, they're not going to have Mack truck size holes opened up for them. They're not. It happens so often in college where these guys get lanes that are 6-7 feet wide, like all the time. You have these breakaway runs, and you don't have the NFL caliber linebackers who are Roquan Smiths, in the middle of the field. They're going to lay the lumber to you, or TJ Edwards, who are just going to lay the smack down on you and not miss a tackle. You're not going to have pinky tackles in the NFL. So to me, it's going to be who can take that lick, who can take that hit, and plow forward for, there's a reason these guys get 6-7 yards per attempt in college. And at the NFL level, 4.2, 4.5, 5 yards per attempt is elite. So who's that guy that's going to take that initial thump, that hit, and still get you 4 yards instead of 2 or 3? Wow. To me, Scatabo is that kid that's going to get you 4 yards every single attempt. He's going to average 4 or 5 yards per attempt. He's not going to have your 4.4 speed. He's not going to blow everyone away. Right. In fact, I think his 40 time was something like 4.55 or 4.6. He's one of the slower running backs, but he's still going to translate at the NFL level, in my opinion.
And my question to you is with that, sometimes the the 40 is important, but do you feel like he's got like a football speed where it changes in between the tackles and he's looking at the gaps and all this kind of stuff, and he could read? That was one of the things that I heard this morning on the NFL Network on Sirius XM 88 radio was that one of the things that you have to have as far as, you talked about earlier about evaluating what a running back needs. And the very first thing that came out of their mouth was vision. You got to have that vision, man. And I just feel like that's the one thing that, Swift doesn't have is vision. So do you feel like Scatabo has that vision and that football speed?
Yeah. You know who does the most, though, is I keep watching tape and I keep coming back to him and he's not getting nearly enough attention.
What's that?
It's Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson is built like a freaking bull, 6 foot, 225.
I love Iowa football.
He's right up there with everything. And he led the entire NCAA. He led college football in breakaway yard percentage.
Wow.
So, and his elusiveness is off the chart. He can diagnose a hole on the fly and he has the contact balance. He has the ability to shift directions and find the hole. I think sometimes Ashton Genty is a great running back. Don't get me wrong with what I'm saying, guys. I just don't see any running back at 10 being worth it. I can find something wrong with everyone, which is not always a good thing, to make me convinced not to take them at 10.
Right.
Caleb Johnson, when I watch him, he's not going to, leap over people like you see some highlights of Ashton Genty. But he is going to diagnose a hole really well at the NFL level, and he's going to take some licks too, and he's going to be able to plow through some of those. I like Caleb Johnson more and more the more I watch him. The more I watch Caleb Johnson, the more I'm falling in love with the kid.
Yeah, dude, I do too, man. He's amazing, and he was one of the very few things that they had on the offense that was actually worth watching. Someone asked in the chat really quick, shout out in the chat, man. You guys are killing it, man, on all levels, especially some of your guys, man. You travel well, bro. You travel on the road well.
Good dudes.
What's that, bro?
Good dudes. Good Bears fan base. I love this fan base. We're having fun.
Camp Scatabo, Pro Comp, Marshawn Lynch, James Conner, and Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. Those are the pro comps that I pulled up really quickly. So I don't know if any of those boxes checked for you, but that's what I pulled up when I did the quick check.
It's so hard taking him to the next level. You hear a lot of people comp him to fullbacks. What was the longtime Patriots freak? Someone in the chat will say it. Every time I do this and I get a brain fart, someone in the chat is so awesome to be like, oh, that's who he's talking about.
Yeah.
I even see a little bit of Marshawn Lloyd in Scatabo from last year. Marshawn Lloyd was the one that the Packers took. I don't know if he was an undrafted free agent or a seventh rounder. He went late, but he was a steal of the draft for me last year too. Same type of elusiveness. So
yeah,
I don't think Scatabo is going to be your breakaway guy. He's not going to be your home run hitter every single time, but he's going to be a solid pick if you take him to complement with. He's a good complement to DeAndre Swift, in my opinion.
Okay, I see that. Now, listen, in the first round, here's what it is for me, man. Here's the rub, Adam.
Okay.
If you're serious about contending, not just this year, but in the next 4 or 5 years, we see what the money is out there. We see what these positions cost. They're very expensive, 30, 40. It's crazy the money that's being thrown around right now.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, this will be the last, unless we trade into it, which is a possibility, but slim pickings. If we play well, this will be the last top 10 pick that we have in a while, if everything works out the way it should, hopefully. You have to go draft yourself a franchise-altering player. Because going from 10-1 or 10-2 or 10-7, wherever you're at, is a lot easier to do with, cultivating that package that you talked about earlier as going into the 15, the 20, and even further out. So in my mind right now, you have to go get yourself a franchise-altering player in the top 10. So I want to hear from you guys, Bears fans. Everybody in the chat, this is where you guys get to get into it, because I love the chat. This is created from a fan to fans. Okay, you're not going to get this on the 4-letter networks of ESPN or CHSN or the 3-letter networks of ABC, NBC, CBS, any of those guys. You're going to get this on shows like Adam's show, on my show, and we love to pull you guys out. Your name is out there. What you say matters. Who is it for you that's going to be a franchise-altering player at 10? Who would it be? I'll start off with you, Adam. Who is it for you, man?
Okay, I'm going to nail that, but I got to say the chat doesn't let me down. So on your chat, Darius Lockhart said it. Rex Burkhead is who I was thinking of.
Okay.
But then Vizzo Joe also, as he said it, Scadaboo equals Peyton Hillis. I think that's a really good comp for him as well. So,
yeah. Gator Bite said that also. Gator Bite said that also.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. So, yep, right up there. So I see it.
Yeah.
All right. Franchise altering at 10. Oh, at 10. Okay. Franchise altering to me is the true franchise alters this draft will be your defensive lineman. I'm going to say if Mason Graham falls to us at 10, he's franchise altering. There's no way you pass up on Mason Graham.
Yeah.
To go to your point of this whole show.
Yeah.
Man, franchise altering Abdul Carter would be franchise altering. So if he fell to 7, 8, or 9,
yeah,
no way you don't trade up for him. He's franchise altering.
Right.
James Christo just said James Pierce Jr. I like James Pierce Jr. I don't know if I love James Pierce Jr. as a top 10 prospect just because of the size. But, I mean, man, his measurables are there. I just think he's going to get manhandled a little bit more at the NFL level by some of the defensive ends at the NFL level. There's no basis for that other than I just think Dennis Allen's going to like his bigger. You know, we've seen that with Deo Odengbo and, you know, the comp you said Landon Jackson. I can see us taking Landon Jackson in the second to learn under Deo Odengbo.
Yeah.
Man, franchise altering Mason Graham. And I really see I've gotten on a high with Kenneth Grant. I'm trying to keep that out of the conversation right now because I do think he's a Vita Vea. I think he's a disruptor. He's a true 3-down disruptor where he can upset the pass game.
Please. Let me pause you. Let me pause for the cause right there because I've been waiting for this. Kenneth Grant. Where would you put him at? I've been begging. I'm like, please say Kenneth, because where would you put him at? Where would you?
Well, I'm on an island because everyone gets so stuck on their mock draft simulators that they don't, see where these players should go.
Yeah.
Kenneth Grant is being scouted hard by the Niners at 11, and the Niners cut 2 defensive tackles. They are going defensive tackle in the first round, and my thought is they're going Kenneth Grant at 11. So a lot of people think you can trade down and get Kenneth Grant. I think your simulators are all wrong. I think your simulators are
that's awesome.
Are hurting your viewpoint on players because Kenneth Grant is going to be gone by 10, 11, 12, 13. Every single team has mocked Kenneth Grant to them in this offseason. Everyone loves Kenneth Grant with his size, his ability to not only stuff the run, his average depth of tackle. So last year, here's the nerdy stat stuff that you like. So last year, Andrew Billings had a average depth of tackle, one of the biggest metrics I look for at defensive tackles, at 1.8 yards, which is good. It's above average. So 1.8 is good. Andrew Billings was 1.8 yards. His run defense, the rest of it, his tackling, not good, but his average depth of tackle was good. Once Andrew Billings went out, you had Byron Cowart, you had Chris Williams. These guys, they all averaged 4 to 5 to 6 yards per attempt. This is why we are one of the worst run defensive teams in the league. Wow. You can't allow 4, 5, 6 on average yards per attempt. Now, Mason Graham is below 1, which is in the top 1% of all college football. He's one of the top 10. Kenneth Grant is right behind him at 1.8, which is really, really good. Still like top 25. So if you can get Mason Graham, steal Mason Graham, I'm good with Kenny Grant at 10. I don't even mind not trading back. I like him. You pair him up with Dexter on certain plays, on Grady Jarrett on other plays, rotating with Andrew Billings. I think this is the last year of Andrew Billings' contract. He's getting older. He's never been superstar. He's a quality rotational guy. I just think if you're going to upgrade, this is the year you do that. You have him rotate a little bit with Andrew Billings, Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter. To me, that's how you stop going from 4 to 5 yards per attempt to 1 to 2 yards per attempt on this defensive line. That's how you impact it.
Bro, I want to tell you right now, if you were my freaking professor for, elementary statistics, I still might be in college. I didn't know how I would find the money to bring you an apple, a donut, and a Subway sandwich every day, but I would do whatever it would take. Because, dude, I enjoy listening to you on stats. I'm a stat nerd.
You flatter me.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, you speak my love language when you speak about statistics. It's so much fun. Somebody said, and I like this, but you might not, because I'm hoping that you have an alternative to Kenneth Grant, because this kind of makes a little sense. And you brought it up, man. You brought it up. So here's where the He said, how about we go to the Niners, trade back at 11 and get an extra pick so they get their guy in Kenneth Grant? Do you have somebody else available if that happens?
Well, you're out of your premium pick, and if that's who you're really going after is defensive tackle, why would you give him to the Niners? I mean, Walter Nolan to me is very similar to those two. Those are the only three defensive tackles. But if you're zoned in on defensive tackle, why would you let the Niners get him, especially when you're not at a premium? Think about it. We dropped from 9 to 10 and got a fourth for that. Moving from 10 to 11 is going to be very similar. You're out of premium pick range.
Right.
You know, they're going to give us a fourth rounder, a fifth rounder.
Okay.
You know, you're not going to get premium pick, and you gave up.
That's what I was going to ask you.
You know, you gave up your guy. So can I share my screen somehow to show?
The only way that I know to do that is if you like legit send it to me on XApp Messenger. Then I downloaded that and then I put it in Restream really quick. That's the only way I know how to do it. And I know that sounds a little, you know, we could have probably done that probably about 20 minutes ago and I already had it up to you by now. I don't know how to share stuff from you to here, to be honest. I wish I did.
Let me share this real quick with you.
Let me know when it's there because I got like 15 XApp notifications. So yeah.
I'm gonna shoot you over just a screenshot of some of these nerdy. I mean, this shows the nerdy stats. I mean, I was literally last night was that night where I got obsessed, and what I was doing was looking at combine visits, and like scouring through interviews to see who has interviewed with the Bears at the combine. It was my night where I didn't go to sleep until 5 a.m. Like, it was so stupid. Like, I'm an idiot with my obsession. All right, I sent it to you now.
Okay.
So it should be coming through to you. But this is the stat stuff I stay up all night doing. Like,
got it.
I really am a nerd.
It's all right, dude.
So this is on the defensive tackles.
Let me hey, I do want to say something really quick while we're getting ready to pull this up. Guys, don't forget, I think you guys are zeroing in on 11, right? 11K. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for Adam's show. And we're trying to approach 3,000 subs. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, share our videos on both of our channels. And yeah, man, show those guys a little love over there.
Yeah, I'm going to say while we're pulling that up.
Yep.
Man, I can't believe how supportive this fan base is. Like, I did not start this channel thinking that I would have 10,000 subscribers, and
it's awesome.
You guys are, you know, incredible. And then the members of the channel, those who become members of my channel, I think there's 40 or 45 now. I just opened that up. Yeah. Like, you guys are completely support. It's so much fun, and I really appreciate you guys supporting the little channel. So a subscription's free. You don't have to do the membership, but a subscription's free. Head over to Hiatt. Head over to Tracks CS Chicago Sports Podcast. Give him a sub. It doesn't cost anything. If you don't like him later, unsubscribe. If you don't like me later, unsubscribe. You know, it doesn't hurt anything. But check it out if you want some content to you know, pass these off-season days where we're waiting for the draft. I'm counting down. We are 29 days and 22 hours from the draft now. 21 hours, 29 days and 22 hours from the draft, something like that. So
that's
counting out of the draft, man. I'm beyond stoked for it.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a great day. You got any special plans for that? You got a watch party or
just going live on here? I'm going to pair up with some of you guys. You know, I already had people reach out to me and see if they want to dual stream on some of them and jump onto each other's shows. It sounds like it's going to be a giant fest. That's awesome. On draft party. So it's going to be fun.
Okay, here we go. We're pulling it up. The Stat Master. Here we go.
Nerdy stats.
Yep.
All right, so here's your top defensive tackles in this draft. If you look at the top there, 3 of those guys are not like the others. All that blue, there's 0 red on them. So from left to right, there's their name. Now the weight, I haven't updated these since way before. This is during the season. So Mason Graham has now come in at 306. At the combine, he was 296. At his pro day, 306. Kenneth Grant's down to 330. Walter Nolan's at 298 or 296 now. So don't pay attention to the height and weight. Those aren't I haven't updated this completely, but what is official after the season ended, these are their season stats from this year. Defensive grade is the next one. Run defensive grade, tackling grade, pass rush grade. SHH is my little metric that I calculate, sack, hit, or hurry. How many plays do they have between a sack, hit, and a hurry? Wow. Win percentage is their pass rush win rate. Missed tackle percentage is their, how many tackles, what percentage of the tackles they miss. And then ADOT is that average depth of tackle that I was talking about. How far, how close to the line of scrimmage do they tackle a player?
Wow.
So okay. Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, they are all right there in the same boat. Low missed tackle percentage, really good average depth of tackle, good win rate, really good sack, hit, hurry, plays between a pressure, good passers. They're very equal. They're very balanced defensive tackles. They handle the double teams well. They handle pressure well. They get pressure, and they also stop the run really well. You get past that, you get into the Tyleik Williams, and you got a very poor pressure rate. He does not get pressure. Tackles in him a decent average depth of tackle, not quite a complete defensive tackle. Needs a little bit of refinement. Derek Harmon, probably the best in this class. Omar Norman, Lott, Derek Harmon. You can see the SHH stat. How many plays between a sack, hit, and a hurry? They're getting pressure like a defensive end would. But some of the other parts of their game are a little bit off. Omar Norman, Lott, poor tackler. Derek Harmon, poor tackler. Their tackling grade 29.3, 41.1. Two of the worst in this entire class. Yeah. So, all these other guys you get below there, Tyleik Williams, Derek Harmon, Deion Walker, a poor average depth of tackling, one of the worst. Deion Walker at 10.3 average depth of tackling. This is terrible.
Adam,
yeah, go ahead.
There's a guy that I think he goes later in the rounds, but I really like watching his film. And I see you've got some numbers on him right here. Nazir Stackhouse. I like this dude, man. And I like his numbers too. I've never really looked at his numbers, but they're pretty sexy for being at the bottom of the pile. There's some big numbers that are bigger than the top guys.
So someone just asked Alfred Collins too. I do like Alfred Collins. I think the Bears like Alfred Collins. I can give you the numbers on him, but this is off of preseason ranking, and these were the ones that were in the first, I think, 5 rounds where the Bears had picks up to. Before this season happened, Riley Mills, Alfred Collins were outside. I mean, they were 6th, 7th round prospects, and there's a reason these guys have jumped up. So Alfred Collins, I can read it to you right now. I didn't have it in my screenshot, but Alfred Collins is right up there. Defensive grade 89.7, run defense 90.5, pass rush 69.7. Pressures 1 every 13 plays, so not quite as good as the top ones, but still up there. Missed tackle at 2.3%, average depth of tackle at 2.5 yards, so not quite the top ones. But I would put Alfred Collins right up there, probably even ahead of Tyleik Williams and Derek Harmon as my number 4, which some people would be surprised of. I just think he's less, and he jumped so high this year, had such a good year, and it was better than the year before. Yeah. I am an Alfred Collins fan, and I think the Bears are too. They met with him at the Combine, so I'm totally down. Whoever said Alfred Collins right there, Rob Hansen said Alfred Collins. You're right. I haven't updated this since before the season. This is their preseason. This is where these guys were ranked preseason, so it's not up to date and accurate as far as where they're stacked in order. But that's a good point with Alfred Collins. I do like Alfred Collins. He would be on my second tier. Probably ahead of Tyleik Williams and Derek Harmon.
Okay. All right. Hey, and you guys can check all these stats out with Adam all the time, man. He's got this stuff going on all the time, man. Good stuff. I like this one right here. This is a good one. It's a good breakdown, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about you, Tracks? Who's your can't miss at 10?
Can't miss at 10? Dude, it changes. I move the goalposts like daily. It's crazy. The more I unpack, the harder it is. Like I said earlier, I legit had offensive linemen that I really wanted to, and then Poles messed that all up by going out and getting really good, trades and free agents and all that kind of stuff. He's been messing me up, dude. I don't know what to say. It's really it's hard. It changes a lot. I do want a guy that, hey, listen, I unpacked the video with Tyler Warren, and I almost convinced myself on that dude. Oh, my God. He runs, he blocks, he catches. He's a guy that you have to keep, an eye on the whole time on the field. I'm kind of like you. I'm not really sold on picking a running back at 1. We've got so many needs, and I really want to make sure, listen, I don't know that there's any one running back that's going to be a franchise changer. And I really feel like I'm with you. I want to get a defensive guy because, while the stats matter and offense is a need, the defense always wins championships for sure, man. So if it's me, I want to get someone on the defensive side of the ball, and I feel like interior is more important than edge because we saw when we did have edge. Not saying that we don't have an edge in the draft that could be better than what we had, but interior helps the exterior, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and the Bears have said that too. Real quick, hey, look at the private chat I just sent you real quick.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh. I'm sorry about that, dude. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, where did I put that up at?
Those who want to know why I'm laughing, I said I got to see your face when we're talking. Take these silly stats off the screen. So he's gonna get that.
I'm trying. What did I do? Oh, I know what I did. I put it up as a overlay. Duh.
Hey, so to hit your point on that though, Tracks, and I'll let you get right back to it to answer. That's exactly what they said though when they announced the new coaching staff.
Yeah,
they said, the pressure comes from the inside out, generating that pressure from the inside. So they've talked about defensive tackle. Now, adding Grady Jarrett's a great start, but they need to do a little bit more. But anyways, yeah, go ahead.
And to your point, I think that's why Thuney's going to unlock some really cool stuff that we're going to see, including Rush Hour, who Jim Miller and other guys have spoke so highly of as a good offensive line coach, including, Olin Kreutz. And it's been a couple decades since we've heard a guy like Olin Kreutz like ooze and get excited about us having an offensive line coach. You got Eric Bieniemy in the building, and you got guys over there with the Chiefs who we almost nailed and picked him up, and I'm glad we didn't because that's a lot of money to put on a guard. Yeah. But I still feel like these guards, like Thuney, is going to unlock some stuff. And you go over there at center. He's going to help out the right guard with Jackson, and it's going to be really good. You guys are going to be really surprised at what we see on the offensive line. And it's just, I played offensive line, you played defensive line. I can't speak a whole lot about defensive line, but on the offensive side, I could see a lot because with me, Dahlman is the conduit. You need the guy. He's their field general. He hears everything from the quarterback, and it all translates out. He's also reading the defense. He's going to tell you what's going to happen. He's going to pass that on from the coach passes on to Caleb. Caleb reads the, and Omaha's out of it if needed. He's going to say what happens to the center. The center is going to talk to the left guard, the right guard, and it's going to channel out. The conduit's going to go to the left tackle, right tackle, and out to the tight ends and whatever. You got to have that guy at center. We haven't. It's important. He's our field general. It matters. Dahlman is a game changer, and so is Thuney. They're both going to help out the guys at right guard and Braxton Jones. I think it's going to be good. And Braxton Jones will surprise you. Listen, he's still on his rookie contract. He's never been given a fair chance at this. He never had. Listen, if there were guys that were not helping out film with Caleb, you think they were helping out that offensive line after 68 sacks? I'd say, no. So now you finally get to evaluate his talent. And a lot of people say that on the opposite side of who do we pick up really quick? The guy with the long hair defensive lineman, like the 5th round defensive lineman.
This last year in the draft or in free agency?
Yeah, last year in the draft. 5th round, 6th round, somewhere around
there. Oh, you're talking about the end, Austin Booker.
No, not Booker, the defensive lineman. He sat out for a little bit. He was injured. Maybe the chat probably knows his name, but
I don't know who you're referring to.
And to the point of he kind of disappeared, but we can't really evaluate his talent, right? Because he didn't have anybody over there. And that's kind of what I'm saying about the offensive line. And like you said, from the inside out on the defensive side, it's going to help out the edge. From the offensive side, it's going to help out the tackles, bro. So,
yeah. So with what you're saying about the Chiefs there and the Trey Smith, who you're referring to, do you know who the comp is for Trey Smith in this year's draft? I'm putting you on the spot. Nobody would. In the chat, if anybody knows, I'm going to be impressed. But
I don't know.
The comp for Trey Smith, and I'm hoping he falls to 39. It'd be really fun to take him at 39. Is Ariante Ursery from Minnesota? Oh, yeah, the one we just watched Abdul Carter blow up on a play there. Ariante Ursery is the comp for Trey Smith. So it would be fun to see us pick him up and possibly have a winner there.
That would be cool, man, for sure. One of the guys that I actually was able to interview week 1 when I was there for Mongo's, he got enshrined. They gave him the ring and all that cool stuff. I was in the locker room and I was able to talk to Braxton Jones. He's brushing out his beard. I'm 6'6". At that time, I weighed more than I do, a lot less now. But I'm looking up, and this guy is a mountain of a man, dude. He's got muscles on muscles. I'm 6'6", and I'm looking up at him, dude. He's a tall, big boy. And, man, I hope well for him. I'm okay with us moving on and drafting a guy, but you kind of want to hope that he can do something here. I'm still looking for that guy that I'm talking to you about earlier, that defensive lineman.
Yeah, I was looking too, and you're up in the night, man. I don't know who you're talking about. So our defensive interior, did we let him go? Did we release him?
No, he's still in the building. I was kind of hoping that the chat would pull me. Darius, help me out. That's my dude.
So our defensive interiors on the roster right now are Chris Williams, Zach Pickens, Jervon Dexter, Andrew Billings, Grady Jarrett, and Jonathan Ford.
Zach Pickens.
Oh, he was a third rounder, dude. He was a third rounder. The same year as
that's why I messed you up. I said 5th.
The same year as Dexter. I was so pissed when we did that. Right. Like, we took Dexter, and I was thinking we were going wide receiver next pick in that draft, a couple 3 years ago now. I was thinking we were going wide receiver next. And when we picked a second defensive interior, 2 picks in a row, I was mad at my TV. Like, I was. For a guy that likes defensive line, he was mad at that. But was it the picks that we had? Is that what it was, or you just? Well, we took Dexter. Then I wanted us to get a wide receiver, and in fact, the ones that I liked, didn't work out and ended up being busts. I remember that year I was high on Bryce Ford Wheaton, who ended up going to the Giants and ends up being a bust. And man, who were all the ones in that draft? There were some right there in the 3rd, 4th round that I was really loving because I wanted that 6'3", 6'4" guy that had high contested catch rates. So when we drafted Rome, I was preaching all offseason Rome was better than Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. Yeah. Some of you will disagree with me, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm already right on that one. The contested catch rate of Rome this last year, his low drop rate, once he gets some more targets, if he gets 100 targets this year, with Keenan Allen being gone, Rome's going to have 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. Like, the dude is just he's elite. He's already a star. He's already Devonta Smith.
Yeah, he's so good. I'm so pleased with him. I was really disappointed because I wanted us to get offensive linemen right away. And I kind of like what Pittsburgh did where they went out and got 3 offensive linemen, and later on in the season they got better. Obviously their center most notably, but my point is that later on in the season, they really flourished. Even that center in Tampa. There's so many good guys that I was just like, oh, I wanted this guy. Oh, I wanted that guy. But then when we had Rome in the building, I started to really gush over him. And looking at the purgatory that the Bengals put themselves in when they went out and spent all their money on 2 wide receivers and 1 center, oh my gosh, that could be a problem later on, man. Ugh.
Yeah, 100%. I got to pull this up now. Yeah. With the wide receivers this last year, I got to pull up the.
You had some really good Rome stats. I was it was sneaky. I didn't realize he was that freaking good, man.
Yeah, he's already a freaking beast, and people are overlooking him because he was the 3rd option. But you put him on any other team, and he would have been a 1,000-yard receiver easy.
But you know who he gives a lot of credit to? Keenan Allen. He said he was his coach on the freaking field, man. And I think there's some intangibles there where you get a guy, and Caleb does that too. The quarterback gave credit to a wide receiver. And I mean, that is something you really got to pause for the cause and say, was it worth it? Growth and development as a rookie and all that kind of stuff. I say yes. I'm glad we moved on from him, but you don't know that Rome is going to translate over to a wide receiver as a rookie as well as he did. So I think that's why they went out and did their due diligence and went out and got a guy like Keenan Allen. I'm not mad at it. I'm glad they moved on from him, but I'm also glad that they brought him in the building. I thought it was important.
I'm going to share another one of these with you. Doesn't mean everything, but it does mean something, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's get this over to you.
Oh, it's in the okay. Sending it over and then pulling it
Another
up.
Screenshot. This is straight from PFF. This isn't something I prepared.
Oh, okay.
But this is straight from PFF. I think a lot of people will be surprised by this one.
Okay.
So, I mean, at the end of the year, so here's the thing with as you watch film on Rome Odunze, What do you think about Adam? Adam, what do you think about the Bears meeting with Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond? I think the Bears are still looking to increase the wide receiver market. I think they'll draft one. I don't think it'll be in the first couple of rounds, though. I think Isaiah Bond won't. Anyways, so with good question. With Rome Odunze, though, you saw the biggest difference there. I don't have those stats on me, but the missed opportunities between Caleb and Rome was absurdly terrible. Like, just flew him over his head, bad route run, not on the same page, sitting in a flat, not getting, not connecting. That's something where you have two rookies and they just weren't in sync with each other yet. The ability, once he threw to Caleb, or once Caleb hit him on target, once they were on the same page, I mean, Rome, when he was being defended by someone, he always came down with it. On the sideline at the end of the year, those sideline passes, he could throw it 2 feet out of bounds, and Rome would, lay himself out and catch that ball and still keep his 2 feet in bounds. He's going to be an absolute star to me in this league.
Are you ready for your stat, brother?
Yeah, nail it up there. This is straight from PFF. Cool. And what you guys are going to want to focus on, where it says CTC on the far right, that's contested catch percentage.
Yeah.
There's only 2 wide receivers in the last decade as rookies that have had over 70% contested catch rate. This is all receivers in the National Football League who played, I don't remember what the minimum snaps was. Basically, I think it was like 30 or 40% of the team snaps. So just enough of a metrics where you don't have a window where it doesn't show you a true ability of these guys. So those guys who played at least like 30 or 40% of the snaps. Rome was number 1 in the entire NFL at contested catch percentage. He caught 72.2% of balls that were contested. And contested catches are defined just as that, where a defender has a decent shot at either pass or breaking up the pass or intercepting it, and Rome plucked it away. Did it all year. Rome Odunze, and look at the receivers. I don't know if you can remove that comment right there from Bear Truth 9 just to go down on this entire list. But Rome, number 1, Terry McLaurin, Jacoby Myers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Evans, Juwan Jennings, Lad McConkey. These guys are all, and I think number 10 is Keenan Allen. So these guys are guys who are forces in the league. So yeah, Rome was definitely worth the pick at 9 for anybody wondering if he was worth the pick at 9. Absolutely worth the pick at 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so too. I was going to ask you about some guys that I had because I haven't pulled any stats up. The guys that we've got in the building that we've been oozing over and excited about, man. Like, and I didn't know if you had any available, but here's one guy that I did want to talk to you about, and I'm a little worried. And I don't know how much you know about it. What's his availability, man? I'm a little nervous about this picture right here.
Braxton Jones, everything that I've seen shows that he's on his way to recovery and that he will be ready by so the teams with new head coaches can meet April 7th for a brief workout for like a week, and then it's another month until we get back into camp. Everything I'm hearing, he's going to be ready by May-ish, so he'll be ready to go. So he's had the surgery obviously way back when, and it's not a major surgery with the injury that he had. So I think Braxton should be fine. We'll see if he can get his health, his strength and conditioning back up. I'm just going to Google it to see if I've missed anything. Injury update. I don't see anything new on it, so it sounds like it's about the same.
So you think he'll be ready week 1? Is that a possibility?
Oh, he'll be ready by preseason week 1 for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be ready for camp. He'll be ready to. I mean, he's supposed to be ready by like May. We don't start preseason until August, so yeah, he'll have plenty of time to get back up to speed.
I gotcha.
So it looks like actually just today or yesterday. I hadn't seen this yet. So actually today at 3:59 p.m.
Wow.
He's out of the boot. So this is his Instagram. He's out of the boot, walking around, showing people that
this guy's doing deep dives on him, man.
He's healing. So this is according to Nicholas Moriano. He shared this today that Braxton Jones posted this on his Instagram story about an hour ago. Jones is walking and out of that boot. So yeah, he's walking around now. Now it's just a matter of getting him back up to strength and conditioning speed, So,
dude, Nick is such a nice dude. When I was like a lost puppy around freaking Soldier Field trying to find my way, and he just like, tag along, let's go, little guy.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, I watch him everywhere, and he's just dialed in. He does everything off his phone. It's like crazy. It looks like he's got a whole freaking entire like what do you call it? Like film crew with him. And there's other people out there like that too. The ladies off of Fox, they do the same thing. It's really cool. But I was like a kid, and with the kick me sign behind. You could tell I was green, dude. I had no idea what I was doing at all. But it was
funny.
So guys, really quickly, I need to bring you guys up to something that's really cool and really important, especially right now, what we got going on with March Madness, man. Wanna Parlay. That's WANNA Parlay. It's a great betting app. It's fun. $2 can win you up to like $2,000 or something crazy like that. You get into like these pools and you go against each other. There's like this like smack talk in the lobby and all this stuff. Now they will match up to $250 of your money. Okay, guys. So check this out. Dane from WGN turned me on to them. Really good outfit. I like them. Up to $250. Enter the promo code TRACKS. That's TRACKS, and they will match up to $250. Man, it would really help out our show. It's a new sponsor of ours, and I'm really excited about it. So far, they gave me a few credits to mess around with, and we turned out like $20. We did really good. A few of them we didn't do so good on, but it's fun, man. And I'll tell you what, by day one, especially day two, by Friday, my whole bracket was shot, bro. My whole bracket it was bad. So you guys could be in the freaking chat just like talking all kinds of smack to me on that smack board. So check it out, man. Get on Wanna Parlay, check out it on your app, enter the promo code TRACKS, TRACKS. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So anyways, let's see here. Okay, yeah, I got you. I'm on it. Let's see here. Where's it at? Anyways, okay, so I think that's pretty much it for today's show. Is there anything that you want to add?
No, we got everyone talking about Braxton Jones now. I love it. I love the chat. You guys are so great. I think we got 80 likes on my channel already, 113 currently viewing. So I got to say thank you. If you guys don't mind checking Chicago Sports Podcast out when you get a chance, look in the description of the video. You'll be able to see his channel. Check him out. I really appreciate you guys tuning in to the dual stream. It's a lot of fun to interact with some of these other creators. We've got a really good fan base. Some of you guys, Muck the General, Braxton Jones has all the physical tools. The thing is now, guys, the problem is even if Braxton Jones does really well, like he did last year, 14th ranked left tackle, we've spent so much salary cap for next year. We almost have to recycle some of these. In fact, that might be part of the reason you're not seeing a Joe Thuney contract extension yet or a Kyler Gordon contract extension yet, because we might have to start getting a little more creative. We spent a lot of money for this upcoming year already. We still got some money to spend, but they got to be really creative with it. If Braxton Jones turns out to be a top 10 tackle, you've got to re-sign him. So I think you have to bring someone in to compete against him, though. Someone like Connerly in the second round. Holland Pierce, I would love in the 5th round to be able to bring a big guy in that you can develop behind him. And it's interesting, though, because you got that tough spot with Braxton Jones where he's 14th. If he doesn't improve from 14th, you kind of got to let him go and hope we get a comp pick for someone signing him for $20 million a year next year. And we got to improve that position to try to get a true top 10 left tackle. So just hitting on that Braxton Jones things, because there's so many people are talking about Braxton Jones now. He does need a stronger base. He's improved every year, though, but it's kind of the same thing I said about Justin Fields. Improved every year. Is it enough? I don't think right now. I think the Bears would view him the same way as Justin Fields. Not quite enough where he's at now. This is kind of the year where he's got to become top 10 in the league if he wants to get that extra contract. Otherwise, he's going to have someone up his butt right now competing with him for his job, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah, hey, Karan could be it, John S. Karan could be. I think they're going to give Karan a decent shot. I think they're going to keep developing him for sure.
Yeah, it would be good to see more of him. I think he had a really bad go his first year. I mean, like throwing him in there, it was not fair.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
And we knew he wasn't ready. We did not be ready. So people say, why did you draft him that early to not be ready? You draft a starter. listen, sometimes it's just that way. So, you see something, and I think like with the college where he came from and everything, like he was like the best player as far as stats go and all this kind of stuff. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I like his, his full wingspan and all the measurables and stuff. I like what he can do. I thought he did pretty well in certain situations. I really like to see what Dan Rushar is about to do. Eric Bieniemy, assistant offensive line coach, Ben Johnson. Hey, listen, he says if you don't block, you don't get the rock to the wide receivers. What do you think happens to the freaking offensive linemen?
Exactly. And, it's going to be interesting to see because last year we got all this hype. You're going to see in a couple months here, some of these guys are going to have their offseason training videos. We saw Gervon Dexter last year come back with the whole story about how he hired a nutritionist. He had a strict regimen. He had, a strict diet that he followed. No more sweets late at night. He trimmed down. He got toned up. He really had a six-pack. He was a rock. It's going to be interesting to see who comes back this year. Braxton Jones kind of limiting that time. He's just got out of his walking boot today. Now he's got to get into the gym and slowly, anybody who's done rehab knows that rehab takes a couple weeks before you can start putting real pressure on it. Yeah. But we're in March. So, by April, May, he should be able to put full pressure on it and get back up to speed. But what's Karan Abagaji doing right now? Is he building that base up? Is he doing that Gervon Dexter thing from last year saying, you know what? I got a raw deal last year. They put me in. I didn't excel. I want to prove to everyone that I'm the freaking man at left tackle. I'm the future here. Can he do that this offseason? And I would love to see that story this year of the guy that does that. I'd love it to be Karan Abagaji too, with his 36-inch arms and his 80-something inch wingspan or 9. It was absurd. He's a giant human being that's got to build that base and hit that next. I would love to see the next guy that does it. 100%.
Yeah. No, you're spot on with that, man. Hey guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody joining our show, man. Hop over, check Adam out. Adam, tell them really quickly where they can find you, please.
So it used to be under Adam Mason, so I think you can still type that because there's so much that the beginning branding was there. When we got bigger this year, I finally did change it to what the logo always was Bear Down Sports. So now the handle is Bear Down Sports. You can check it out at Bear Down Sports. That's what it is. So you can type my name, Adam Mason, or Bear Down Sports. Appreciate anybody who checks it out, comes and follows us. We try to have a good time. I try to share the nerdy stat stuff with you, but also give authentic takes. They're not the same as your CHGO. They're not going to be the same. I'm not jumped on the Ashton Genty, train. If you are, great. I just have my own authentic take, and if you want a different take than your mainstream guys, someone who's going to be very authentic with his take, I will give you that. I'm very authentic in what I think and believe, and I pound the table for it. And I'm not always right, but I try to be as genuine in my takes as I can be.
Absolutely. And that's it for today's episode of Bears on Tracks, guys. Adam, thanks for coming on. Always a pleasure with you, brother.
You as well. I really appreciate doing this with you. We'll do it again for sure, Tracks. This is a lot of fun.
For sure, guys. Hey, thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for showing up and showing out. We'll catch you next time, Bears fans. Bear down.
Da Bears.
Da Bears.
Bear down.